Hello, my name is Liz and this is Liz Arts and Crafts. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the check mesh top. So I'm wearing the first rendition of this top and I filmed myself making a second one in purple. So I'll take you through the process of how I made this top, and if you want to make one too, you can. This top is perfect for the summer, and so far it has been proven to be awesome for layering. I'll show you some of the people who've already made this top who are my testers to help me make the pattern and how they styled it, to give you a little inspo, just so you can decide if you want to make one. First thing you'll need to do is get your supplies in order. This top, the brown one, I used 2 balls of the KC cotton and I used 160 grams, so that's for about a size medium. And then for this one I used less than 1 ball of the loops and thread Luxe Merino wool, and both of these, this first one was a bit cropped and the second one was a little bit longer, both for a size medium. So I would suggest you get a fiber that is something you'd be comfortable wearing, maybe cotton for the summer or something similar that's soft. This one's also soft. It's a little bit warmer since it's wool, but it washed up nicely, so I like this material as well. And then besides that, you'll need a crochet hook that matches with your yarn. I used a 4.5 millimeter for the brown one. I think I used a 4 millimeter for this purple one, and scissors and a needle to sew in ends. If you are more of a written pattern type person, I also will be linking down below my written pattern. So I wrote up very detailed instructions and also a tester gallery with over 25 different versions of this top and how much yardage they use and stuff like that. So go check it out if you want more information. It won't be too pricey. I just wanted to give you that option in case you're more comfortable or prefer written pattern. Love if you would buy that, but otherwise this video is comprehensive and you shouldn't need anything else outside of this video to make your very own top. So I'm going to go over quickly the different measurements we're going to need. They're not too bad, but there are 6 of them. But they're not hard or anything. So first one is the width of your chest circumference, so like this. So mine's 38, and subtract 2 inches to give it a more tighter fit. So it's just a 2-inch negative ease. If you prefer it to just be the tightness of your bust, then you can do no negative ease, so subtract 0, or you can even add some if you wanted it to be like a loose top. But I'm going to recommend doing 2 inches of negative ease. So for your W value, subtract 2 inches. So I'm going to do 36 inches this time. And I forgot to mention it, but you should then divide this number by 2 because we're going to be working this in 2 panels. So my W ends up being 18 inches. Next one is pit to pit, like how long you want it to be across. So this, I want mine to be 12 inches. And then next is the length. So length all the way down. Mine's like 19 or 20. I'm gonna do 19. You can do it more cropped if you want, like here, maybe 16, but I like a little bit more length. So I'm gonna do, I think 19 will give me a slight crop, kind of like how this top fits me. Next we have the main body. So like whatever length you decided to go to, for me it was 19. How long from under your pit to where you want it to end. So for me, I think I'll do like 10, so I have a little bit more room. Usually do between like 9 inches and a foot on me. And then 2 more for the neck hole shaping. So look at your neck and do like this and see how long you want it to be here. So mine was 3 inches for like the depth of the neck. Might do 2.5 inches. Make it a little bit like high neck, but I would say between 2 and 4 inches is probably good. And then shoulder. So last one is how wide do you want the shoulder part to be, or the like shoulder flap, like a tank top. We'll do 4 inches. I like a little bit of coverage, you know, but I would say at least 2 and 4, maybe up to 6. I don't know how big, but yeah, those are the 6 measurements. Hopefully there'll be no surprises with how we're using these numbers. So also you can choose to measure this based on another top you have that has a similar style. Just lay that top flat on the ground and measure. Either way, you can either do it based on your body or a similar style top. So this top is worked up in 2 panels, the front panel and the back panel. And we're gonna start by making the front panel, and we'll start from the very bottom and work our way up. So the very first row is actually a foundation single crochet. And I'm going to be inserting a tutorial for how to do the foundation single crochet. However, if you do not want to do foundation single crochet for whatever reason, you could substitute in instead just chaining for length W instead of doing a foundation single crochet. I'll be showing you how to make a foundation single crochet. So I'm going to start by making a slip knot. Putting that on my hook. So first you chain 2. Now you go into the first chain, yarn over, pull through, and then this first loop on your hook acts like the foundation chain. So then you can yarn over and pull through 1. Then you'll have 2 loops on your hook, and now you can yarn over, pull through both loops to complete your first foundation single crochet. So these 2 loops down here are like the top of your single crochet you just made. But let's make a second one. So to do that, you look at the bottom. You could sort of turn your work a little bit and see that there's a V formed here. And so you'll want to go through both of those loops, yarn over, pull through. Now you'll have 2 loops on your hooks, and the first loop will be like the foundation chain again. So you'll yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through both. So once again, a little bit quicker, go through both loops on the top or on the bottom, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 3 now. 1, 2, 3. So once more, go through the top, go through the loops on the bottom, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, so mine is now 8 foundation single crochets long, and so I'm gonna turn my work and start building on this. So to do that, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 1. So just chain 1 and then turn my work. And now I treat this like I would any other single crochet row. Row 0 is to create a foundation single crochet of length W, and you have to ensure that this row is a multiple of 3 plus 2 to make the later steps work. So for example, mine is 74 stitches long. We can start doing the mesh pattern. So the rules of the pattern are that every row starts and ends with a double crochet, and then all the stitches in between alternate between 3 double crochet and 3 chain 3, skip 3. So let me show you what I mean. So first you end each row with a chain 2 and turn. Okay, so now we're at the beginning of our first row. And so I'm going to go to this stitch, but I'm going to do a double crochet. So that's the first stitch of the row, and then I'm going to alternate, starting with 3 double crochet, okay, 3, and then chain 3, skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to start skip 3, so 1, 2, 3, and double crochet into the 4th stitch. And double crochet 3, and then I'll show you what I have so far. Okay, yeah, so far I had a double crochet 3, chain 3, and you skip 3 to make this hole, and then you start double crocheting 3 again. And now I'm going to continue that pattern, so I'm going to chain 3 and then double crochet into the 4th stitch 3 times, so double, or not 3 times, but double crochet 3 now. And continue, chain 3, skip 3, double crochet 3. And because we made our W a multiple of 3 plus 2, it should work out that you should have, you should finish your row by doing 3 of either a double crochet or a chain 3, and then a double crochet at the end. So I'll check back in at the end of this row. All right, so I'm coming up near the end of the row, so this is what it looks like all together. So there's same pattern all the way down. Now we have a few stitches left, so I have to do 3 double crochets. And then I have 4 stitches left, so I'll do 3 chains. And now the mesh pattern ended, and the very last stitch is a double crochet. Awesome. But yeah, so now we have the first row, and I'm going to chain 2 and turn. All right, so now we do row 2. So we essentially followed this pattern where we're going to put double crochets on top of chains and chains on top of double crochets. So first stitch is always going to be a double crochet on top of the last double crochet from the previous row. And now because I ended on 3 chains, I'm going to start with 3 double crochets. But if you ended on 3 double crochets, that's okay. That's how my first top was. You would just start with 3 chains instead. You just have to go with whatever pattern makes the mesh pattern below work. So I did a double crochet and then 3 double crochet. Now 3 chains. And 3 double crochets, 3 chains, etc. all the way down. All right, so I'm nearing the end of row 2 now, and I'm ending it with 3 double crochets, then 3 chain skips, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 double crochet at the end. Okay, so then you turn your work, you chain 2 and then turn your work. Now, because I had my last actions for row 2 were chain 3 and then a double crochet, that means I need to do a double crochet on top of this. So I'm going to start by always double crocheting for my first stitch, and then because there's chains here, I'm going to double crochet. But if your last stitches of your second row were double crochets, then you would chain here. Just depends on what multiple of 6 you are, essentially. Have to go with the flow and follow the mesh pattern. All right, so I'm going to continue working like this until this height reaches measurement M. I made it to the next step. So I have 20 rows here to get the height to be my main body. Now it's time to start the armhole shaping. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start, so I ended over here. So we're gonna start a new row, some amount in, and then we're gonna end that row that same amount on the other side. We essentially want to follow the same mesh pattern up and build up a rectangle around here. Place 2 stitch markers such that they are centered and there is a distance of P between them, and also ensure that there's a multiple of 3 stitches between the two, or you could think of it as there's whole blocks between the 2 stitches. So for mine, I had 17 squares or 51 stitches between the two, and then 54 stitches including the 2 stitch marker spaces. Okay, so I'm just going to leave my stitch marker in just for visual sake so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm in the same spot I put my stitch marker. I'm going to attach my yarn and then do a and then chain 2. Oops, and put a double crochet there. Okay, now I'm going to work the mesh pattern across. So I'm going to start with 3 double crochets. Oh geez. Okay, and now I have to do 3 chains, 3 skip, and then 3 double crochet. And now I'm going to do this mesh pattern across, where I'll end on chain 3 and then 1 double crochet in from the end stitch. Okay, so here I am after the first row of like the armhole shaping, and I have 1 double crochet, and then across I follow the check pattern, 3 double crochet, 3 chain, 3 double crochet all the way across until whatever I end on, either 3 chains or 3 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet at the very end. You keep building this up until your whole garment measures your total length minus the collar length you want. All right, so I'm to the part where I can start working my collars. So here's the bottom, worked up to the main body part, and then here's the armhole shaping portion I've done. So now I'm gonna work on building up the collar, and to do that, so I ended over here, so I'm gonna flip my work. Sorry. So I start over here, and I'm just gonna work for 4 sections on each side. So like 1, 2, 1, 2. But for like the distance C or the length C here, essentially. So I'm gonna work 4, so 6, 12, 14 stitches. So I'm gonna do a double crochet and then 12 and then a double crochet, and then I'm going to work it up for 5 rows. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to come back and attach my yarn on the other side, so right here, and start going this way and build it up on this side. So all right, so it's already attached over here, and so I'm going to work a double crochet and then work the check pattern or the mesh pattern across for 12 stitches. There's the first row, and then I'm going to turn my work. My next row is going to go here, and we'll build it up, and I'm going to build it up for 5 rows. So. All right, so I finished off that shoulder flap with my 5 rows, and now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I join because I started my first row of the shoulder flap going this way on this side. I want to have it go the same direction, so I'm going to join my stitch the same number of stitches in on this side. So for me it's 14. So I'm going to do a double crochet and then the mesh pattern across and a double crochet and build up the same 5 rows on the other side. I finished the front panel. So here's that second shoulder flap attached now. There's the first one, and it's looking good. So the next step is to do almost the exact same thing for the back panel, and there's 2 key differences to keep in mind. And the first one is just the very first step for how we start. After you make your foundation single crochet row, start with 1 double crochet and then 3 chains, and then 3 double crochet, 3 chains. So just start with 3 chains instead of starting with 3 double crochets like usual. That way your build-in spaces will match up with the empty spaces when you attach your 2 panels together. So it's just how you start your first row. And then the other thing is the collar depth. So here I had 5 squares for my depth of my collar. And for the back panel, we want to make the C value about half of that width. So I'm going to go with 3. So that's the only other difference, is I'm going to only leave 3 spaces to work for the collar space, but I still want it to be the same height. So because before I would work 33 rows before I started my collar, now I'm going to work 35 rows and then just work the last 3 rows for the collar. So however many you had for your collar depth, do about half of that. And I would say round up just to make sure you have enough room for your neck to get through. Okay, so I finished my back panel. Here, let me put this up so you can see. This one had 5 rows for the shoulder flaps, and this one I only did 3. So this is my back panel. So now we just have to seam them together. So there's no real front or back to these, so it doesn't really matter which way you have them together. But the only thing you need to make sure of is that you have a filled in space next to a solid space. So right here I have 2 solids, so I need to flip this one. So then I'll have an empty space next to a filled in space at the bottom. Okay, so I'll lay one on top of the other and line up the seams. I don't think this step's gonna surprise you guys. We're going to seam this up here on the side, here on this side, and then on the top of these 2 shoulder flaps. I'm just gonna do a single crochet, honestly, so I'm going to single crochet up here, down here, and here and here to seam them together. You could also do whatever seaming method you prefer, but I like single crochet because it's stretchy and it's really easy. Okay, so I have my 2 panels lined up here, the 2 shoulder flaps. Okay, and then I'm going to single crochet across. All right, so I single crocheted across the top there, and you can do the same for the other shoulder flap and the two sides. I seamed everything together and then I turned it right side out, and now I'm going to do one last step, which is two last steps, I guess. First, I'm going to single crochet around the two armholes and the neckline. And I actually already did it to the right side while I was like already working. So this one you can see has a slightly more finished look than this one, which is a little more raw. I would just say single crochet evenly around the armhole as evenly as possible, and then do the same for the other armhole and the neck hole. So yeah, and then if you want it to come in tighter at any of these spots, you can go around again, add like a decrease row, but I didn't do that for either of my tops. Let's do this side next. So I'm going to join it right at the bottom. I'm also going to try to weave in this end as I go, just single crochet around it, just to minimize it since I have so many ends I'm going to have to weave in after. Okay, so I joined it, and then I'm going to chain one, and then I'm going to start single crocheting around. Oh, also, if you find it a little bit challenging to get your hook into the sides of these double crochets, or if this is like bulky, it turned out bulky instead of laying flat, I would recommend you size down in your hook. So I'm using a 4 millimeters, so I could use like a 3.5 or something, and that would make it like a little bit tighter, the single crochet, make it cinch in a little, and also easier to insert your hook. So you can do that, but I just use the same hook because I feel like it's looking good and fine this way. So here's this being worked up, and then I'm gonna go all the way around, and then I will slip stitch into the very first one I did and fasten off, and then I'll do that for the neck hole, and then last step will be to weave in ends, and I'll be done. I've done the two sleeves, and then I'm gonna just do the neckline, and then we'll be done. So I'm just gonna single crochet. I'm gonna probably attach my yarn at the seam here, and then single crochet around and try to weave in as many ends as possible. I weaved in 5 as I went around the side, so I'm hoping I can weave in 2 or 3 up here because I do not want to be sitting weaving in ends all day. It's all done. I'm so happy. I think it turned out so cute. If you end up making one of these, I would be so honored, and I would love if you would send me it, like send me a DM on Instagram or tag me in a photo that you post. That would make my whole like world. Because I'm having fun with this top. I'm gonna make another one, I think, in white. I love my check mesh, and I hope you do too. So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in this type of content or more like vloggy style crochet, you should definitely subscribe down below. I post new videos every Thursday. If you like this video, feel free to like the video down below. That means a lot to me. So thank you so much, and I will catch you next time. Bye.